Look at you.
Look at me. I straightened my hair for this.
I know.
You like, feel like this, you like actually look like you're about to.
Run for
give it up.
president.
Yeah, run for president. You like grab
My fellow Americans.
My fellow Americans.
You should pull a Joe Biden and try to do a room after your dismal speech. Yeah.
Pressure.
And but have you seen that?
What do you get lost?
No, he just turned to the room. He's like, and thank you.
Like it's Pittsburgh.
Favorite part is when he tries to shake hands with people that aren't there.
I am.
Okay. One of the 500. Okay.
Eric, I've been calling left and right, figuring out what's going on in this area.
I don't doubt it.
You need a.
All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, all of the other things that people are calling themselves now.
Data.
Welcome to Wednesday.
That's my pronoun is Wednesday.
Yeah, welcome to Wednesday. That's yours. Makes sense.
Which Wednesday?
Do we have any wins? Anything we're excited about?
I'm excited about my listing appointment today.
I know you are. But the sad thing is that everybody already knows about it,
I know.
so we can't really
I'm like,
dive too far into it.
Doubling up on your.
Yeah, you can't be sharing your wins 36 times.
but there's so much fun.
Now it's gonna be a big day for you. You have an opportunity today to have the biggest buy you've ever done and the biggest sale that you've ever done,
Yes.
which is super, super exciting.
No pressure.
And it's all because of follow-up. Well, you,
Kidding.
but follow,
But it is because of all of it.
100% because follow-up. Gentlemen, anything else? Anybody in the chat got any wins for today?
Have a
JJ does.
personal win. My older brother and I are not necessarily close, and through his hunting and trapping of animals, we've kind of gotten a little bit closer. Of he just keeps catching them, so we keep having a fun time doing that.
That's amazing.
Personal win.
Just building relationships,
Yes. Sure.
even with people that you may not find to be the best people on the planet or level in life. But you know, sometimes it takes the weirdest, strangest things to make two people come together.
It's hunting and racquetball. That's like, that's it. That's our thing.
Nothing wrong with that. All right, well, today we are gonna change up the script a little bit. We started off Monday with just listed. Yesterday we went into just sold, and today we are gonna go into the open house portion of this. So looking at the script, asking the same questions I did yesterday. Does anybody in the chat or anybody in the room have any way that we could take this script, number 2, and change it over to make it an open house script? Anyone? Anyone that's not looking at something other than what we're doing?
Like reaching out to the neighborhood and trying to come to the open house?
Yep. So this is it. We're changing the just listed, just sold to we're having an open house this weekend. How would you change number 2 to that?
The way that I was doing it, because I did the comments and lives, was I was just like, hey, I just want to give you a quick call. I have an open house going on, in Tomlinson Woods. Just wanted to see if you want to stop by, check out the house. This is your chance to choose your neighbor.
Yep. Nothing wrong with that. What else could you throw in there?
Fair housing.
Hmm?
So that's not fair housing.
I mean, not really, because you didn't say any specifics about said choosing of the neighbor.
True.
So what else could you throw in there to make that a little bit more pinpointed?
Oh, I know.
What?
We're doing the first hour of the open house exclusively for neighbors.
You could do that. Yep. Do a nosy neighbor, which is actually really, really popular. Those go over really well a lot of times. You usually don't have like a ton of people that come through, but if you want to, do, hey, we're doing an open house from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. I'm going to be there at 12 o'clock and I'm going to open it up for the neighbors, anybody that wants to come through and check the house out before the open house starts. Just if you want to come see it, obviously I know you're probably not going to move next door, but a lot of people want to know what their neighbor's house looks like. So if you want to come by, let me know. What else could you add to that? There's one more thing that we're missing. It's already in there.
If you know anybody that wants to move to the.
Hey, there it is. Yep. Yep, I know, that's what I was saying. So this is your opportunity to not only get the neighbors involved, have start a conversation with the neighbors, but also see if they know anybody that wants to be, in the neighborhood. Just listed is one thing, because you're just letting them know that it's listed. The open house is a little bit easier because you're actually able to invite them to something and actually be able to get them in the door so you can meet them face to face. So you're setting up a face-to-face meeting without setting up a face-to-face meeting. It's an opportunity for you to get in front of people. So after they hear your voice on the phone and after they talk to you a little bit, and then they get face to face with you inside the door, like I said, that the nosy neighbor is a huge way to do that. If you are getting a lot of traction on people that want to come to the open house, it's okay to call those people back that said, hey, yeah, I'll swing by the open house. I'll swing by the open house for sure. If you get 10 people or 15 people that are like, yeah, absolutely, I will. Go back, call them and say, hey, you know what? I'm getting so many people that from the neighborhood that want to come through. I'm actually going to open it up specifically for you guys at noon. So I'm going to go in an hour early. That way you guys don't feel like you're on top of people and we can have a chance to chat a little bit. So let's just go ahead and open it up at noon. And then, you guys can come through and kind of check out the house before we officially open the open house at 1. So it's a really good way to get people in the door.
I think that's a great idea, because the only time I ever did that was for Farm Street, and it was so overwhelmed with neighbors, I couldn't talk to anybody else that was coming.
Yep.
Because the neighbors just talk to you about,
Yeah,
because they don't care.
For
They're just
sure.
like, yeah, I live different. They'll just keep going and going and going.
For sure.
So,
And on top of that, like I said, it gets you an opportunity to be face to face with these people and build a little bit of rapport. Because if you not only get the house up the street, so they know that you've sold in the neighborhood, which is always a question that people ask. But on top of that, you build a good rapport while they're there. When time comes for somebody to either move into the neighborhood or for them to move out, who do you think they're gonna call? Especially if they don't have an agent that they work with.
Ghostbusters.
Either that or Ghostbusters, one of the two. They're either gonna call you or a Ghostbuster, depending on what kind of conversations you have with them. Yeah. So, anybody else have anything else we can add to this script? Looking through the number 1 through, what is it, 12, 13? What else could we add to the script to make it geared towards an open house? You start going into how long have you lived in the neighborhood? What are some things that you're gonna ask?
Do you like about the neighborhood?
Yep. Make it more about information that you're trying to get from them. Because believe me, if you start getting people talking about the neighborhood and everything else, the number one thing, and I gave this one to Aloha the other day, the number one question that I get that gets me to either positive information that I can use during the open house, or maybe they want to move, is if you could change anything about the neighborhood, what would it be? Because you may have people that are like, nothing. I love this neighborhood. I would never move. Not something I would ever change. We're living here forever. I'm going to die in this house. And you may have people that immediately jump into, if this was changed or that was changed, or, this neighbor up the street drives me nuts. Why don't you sell their house? You can really get into some really good information and find out more about what they're going through in the neighborhood. And a lot of times you'll find people that are like, yeah, if we could move, we would in a second. Okay, well then in that situation, what do you say? How do you respond to, if we could move, we'd do it in a minute?
What specifically would have to happen?
Say it louder from the diaphragm.
What specifically would have to happen in order for you to actually consider making that move?
Exactly. So again, we're just jumping back into the script because it works in all of these different situations. But this one, if you gear it right in the beginning, you can get a ton of information from these people and make it a lot easier for you to either set a face-to-face appointment, which you already are doing. Because if they say, yeah, we've considered it, we've talked about it. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you swing by the open house so I can get a chance to meet you face to face. We'll chat a little bit. I'll open it up at noon for you. And then, from there, you guys can, decide what works best for you. Then when you're face to face with them, when's the best time to set an appointment?
Face.
Absolutely. You're face to face with somebody and you say, you know what? I pulled some information on your house because I know you guys were talking about moving. Why don't I swing by at about 3:30 today? Then you're face to face and you're having this conversation. Why don't I swing by about 3:30 today? And we'll just kind of go over what the comps look like and what, I think your house could sell for, because I haven't seen the house yet. And then from there, you guys can decide what works best for you. Does that make sense? And I promise you, if you hear me talk about anything at all, I'm gonna end with the way that I ended that conversation. And from there, you can decide what works best for you. That is the easiest and most simple, non-threatening way to set up an appointment. Because if they think, you know, from there, you can sign the contract, we'll sign the house, we'll get the house on the market. They're gonna be like, you know, we're ready for that. But if you honestly, like, if you end it at the very end with, hey, you know, and then from there, you guys do what you want to do. It makes it so much easier for people to accept that entire meeting. Does that make sense? Okay, so what's that? Well, you should. And then we'll sit down and talk about it, and then from there, you can decide what works best for you. All right, so you got about 20 minutes. You guys should have a chance to go through this a few times. Zoom, I'm just gonna put you into the throuple and have these guys kind of go back and forth since we do have 20 minutes. And if you guys have any questions or anything like that that you want to throw in, just feel free to do so.
You wanna look at? my stuff?
Not during role play.
This is Aloha over at KW Elite. How are you?
I'm doing well, how are you?
I was giving you a quick call. We just listed February on Washington Main Street and I just wanted to see if you might know anybody that wants to move in the neighborhood.
I don't right now. What time do you open house?
Okay, perfect. The open house is from 1 until 3. So,
What day?
it's
Sunday, 1 to 3, okay.
Sunday 1 to 3. And, yeah, would you be interested in stopping by?
Yeah, I'll check with the wife and see if we're available. I don't think we have anything planned on Sunday.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And how about you guys? How long have you lived in the neighborhood?
Oh, we've been here for 20 years.
Hmm?
Yeah, well,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So, what do you like? Yeah.
Well, it's a great place to raise kids. Honestly, that's why we stayed so long. So, you know, it's just very family oriented and very quiet. So, yeah, we enjoy it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So if you could change anything about it, what would you change?
Ooh, that's a good question. Can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah.
So you said it's a good neighborhood for kids. What makes it a good neighborhood for kids?
There's not a lot of traffic going up and down the streets. Typically, if you're in this neighborhood, you live here, there's no real through streets, so there's, you know, we don't have speed bumps or tons of stop signs everywhere. Like, it's just very slow pace. It's almost like country living in the city.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. So how many do you have? Curious.
We don't have any here.
Oh, you don't? Okay,
Did I say we did?
perfect. You said you like it because it was a good family.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why you stayed there.
Yeah.
You said that's why we stayed here, is because it's a great place to raise kids.
I
Yeah.
didn't say that.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't remember. if
What
I
are
did.
you,
That's
creep?
why I-
No, I'm kidding.
Well, I was gonna go down the creek.
Oh, no, don't do that.
Don't be Ben.
Yeah, don't do
Someone
that.
try to fill in.
That's true.
Not here.
That's true.
True.
Okay, keep going.
So, okay, great. So it's just you and your kids better?
Yep, yeah, this her and I, we lived here for, you said 20 years, no kids, but we like the vibe. It's just, like I said, family oriented, very chill, not a lot of traffic, yeah, very quiet.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So hypothetically, if you could move anywhere else, where would you?
Probably like an acreage. That'd be the next step for us.
That'd be the next most quiet. place
Yeah,
that you could
yeah,
probably
level up
live.
to the most quiet, yeah.
Exactly.
Um,
So why an acreage?
just, you know, little bit farther away from your neighbors. Not that I don't dislike my neighbors at all, but, you know, just less to worry about, you know, don't see them when I'm coming in and out all the time. And even though I'm sociable, I don't always like to wave and say hi to people, you know, sometimes I just wanna go inside.
It's like we got that neighbor right next to you and they always wanna say, hey, what you doing?
Yeah.
Mind if I come over?
Walk me into a 20-minute conversation that I just,
And you just wanna go ahead and get your home.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So ideally, I know you've lived there for 20 years, but when did you?
you know, anytime, actually, you know, nothing's really keeping us here. So we just haven't really talked about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So could you tell me what specifically would need to happen in order for you to actually consider making this a vehicle?
Well, right now, rates are pretty high, so we would definitely want rates to come down before we jump into something like that.
Okay.
So, yeah,
And
we were at like a 3.2 or something like that.
3.2.
Yeah, we refinanced in 2020.
Oh, nice.
End of 2020.
That was good.
Yeah,
Sure. Have you actually spoken to them about the rates?
I haven't, but, I actually work a little bit in the mortgage world, so I know we're right around 7%.
Awesome. So the rate would.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything specifically that could happen?
Not really, like I said, we don't have kids, so we're not tied to the area, we just, ready to, you know, we would have to obviously do some cleaning and packing. It's a little bit of remodel, I haven't done a lot of like cosmetic maintenance on the place the last 5-10 years. So probably some thread paint, things like that. But as far as like overall stuff, we can take care of all the meter items and then they need to attended to.
Yeah, like water heater.
Water heater
goes
furnace,
out.
yeah, we put new water heater furnace, we put a new roof on 2 years ago. New siding, new windows, so really, you know.
Wow, sounds like a pretty updated.
Yeah, I mean, the inside's dated, but it's clean, right, so it just
Moving
needs,
ready.
yeah, it's moving ready, just needs maybe some new flooring in place, and some new paint. So, I think that, you know, we would probably wanna work on those things, to get the most bang for our buck.
So that makes a lot of sense, and before I let you go, is there anything I can do for you guys? Before we see each other again now?
Actually, do you know like a painter and a flooring guy that we could get over here to take a look at things?
Yeah, I absolutely do. And here's what I'll do. I'll just send you my contact info so that you have it on file, and then I'll email you my guy.
Okay,
Let's, what's an email for you?
jbig7@gmail.com.
Sweet, perfect. And I mean, I don't know if this is a thing, but do you have an agent that you work with in case you need real estate help moving forward?
You know, we don't, we moved in here 20 years ago and I have no idea, I haven't heard from her in 20 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, don't, any clue.
Okay, got it. Well, I'm sure at some point you may need some help, like with the painter suggestion, and I'd just love to be there for you. And it would be okay, so stay in touch.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds great.
Perfect. Well, I'll email you over my paint guy, and I'll see the open house on Sunday from 1 to 3.
Sounds good.
All right. Catch you later, Jay.
Perfect. Any feedback? I've got somebody. I want you guys to jump in first.
I was laying up a chance for her to try to schedule an appointment with me. And you follow the script a little bit. Yeah, I'm like, why don't I come by the house, take a look at some of the updates you need?
Sure.
So I was kind of laying that out there for you. Otherwise, I think you did great. The lender thing I threw at you, only because I get that a lot, and it's a very difficult one to, you know, depending on the situation, at least to me, I'm sure he's got an all-star way to drop that and make someone be like, oh, okay. But yeah, I get that all the time, like, well, we're not moving, we're at 3%, like, not going anywhere, rates are 7.5. Like, I get that quite often,
Yeah.
and it stumps me
I
most
mean,
of the time.
well, because it makes so much sense what they're saying.
Mhm.
Like, I'm in a 4.25 interest rate. I don't really want to move into a higher rate.
Right.
like, I totally understand.
Right.
So like,
What would be a
That's
good,
a
what would be a
perfectly
good way
valid
to
rebuttal.
find out if they needed to make this? What would be a good way to get him excited about this move, to make
to
him
talk about
think,
the acreage,
there it is?
yeah.
So before you get into what would specifically have to happen, before you get into all of that, one of the things I want you to really start to dig into, guys, it's not in the script, but it's kind of like caveated throughout it. With the whole fact that we talk about dig deep, dig deep, dig deep, right? One of the best ways to dig deep and get people really talking about what they want is to ask them to paint the picture.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so when he says, I move into an acreage, be like, really, an acreage? So why an acreage? Oh, it's just quiet, be away from my neighbors, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what area would that acreage need to be? Okay,
Right.
so Gretna, why Gretna? Well, we got kids that live there, we got family that lives out there. Okay, so you got family that lives out in Gretna, you're kind of thinking about an acreage. What does that acreage look like? Are we talking a 2-story, or old farmhouse? Do we want a brand new ranch? Do we have 5 acres, we have 10 acres, we have 20 acres, we have 2 acres? Like, what does that look like? Tell me, explain it to me.
Right.
And a lot of times I'll be like, well, my wife wants this, or I want that, or, okay, so it sounds like, maybe you want a really big open kitchen. Right now, do you have that?
Right.
No, we don't. And it'd be really nice to have for like Thanksgiving coming up. Oh yeah, that's right around the corner. Start talking about the things, paint that picture, so that when he gets off the phone, he's gonna immediately start going, okay, well, I'm gonna look at Zillow and I'm gonna see if there's anything on it. Okay, so that's number one, is paint that picture. If they start digging into something that they want, dig in, paint that picture. Number two, as he was saying, he absolutely 100% gave you like the easiest, like you're standing next to the basketball hoop on a ladder, and he just gave you a complete layup. And that is like, do you know a flooring guy and a paint guy? Those are the things we would need to do. What he's telling you in that is, okay, I actually would like to do this acreage thing. We actually would like to get our house ready. So in that situation, the best way to go is, what? To me, I want to make sure that for every dollar that you spend, you're going to get money back. So I haven't seen the house yet. Why don't I swing by sometime this week, and we can walk through all the things that maybe you think need to be done, and then I'll give you my professional opinion about what I feel absolutely has to be done, so that you're not spending money in places that aren't going to make you money back. Does that make sense? Perfect. So I'll come over sometime this week, and then from there, you can do whatever makes sense. Right?
Yep.
Because that conversation and that setup right there is like, Aloha just wants to come over and check out the house and try to help us. And then from there, we're gonna make the decision.
Right.
She's not gonna pressure us. There was no pressure on the phone. So she can swing by, and then you can walk through it. You may find out while they're there that, no, we're not gonna do this. That's gonna cost too much money. Or you know what, actually, we talked about it and we're really comfortable staying right where we're at. Okay, no problem at all. Well, then why don't I swing by and we'll just go through the things. Maybe we can get your house updated, since you do love the neighborhood so much. Maybe I can just give you the people that you need to make sure that your house is updated to where you want it.
Right.
And we'll just walk through that. Well, we're not gonna list. No problem.
Yeah.
I'll still swing by and I'll still help you out.
Right.
Really? Okay, yeah, perfect. So you're getting a free designer for no reason whatsoever, other than I just wanna help you.
Right.
And I wanna be the person that's a contact for you. You go over there and you do that, and then the neighbor goes to him 3 days later and says, I think we're gonna sell. You should talk to Aloha.
Right.
Like, she's coming over this week. Then you go over there, start talking to the guy, and he goes, by the way, Tom next door is actually looking at selling. You should go over and talk to him. Hey, Tom, talk to Jay.
Right.
Boom, set up,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
So as you're going through these, I want you to stick to the script and make sure that you're utilizing each one of these questions.
Mhm.
But at the same time, in between those, I want you to dig as deep as you possibly can. Find out about their family. Like, if somebody mentions family immediately, like when the way that he said it, I'd go, oh, do you guys have kids? Great place to raise kids. Oh, do you have kids? No, we don't. Okay, so just a great, comfortable neighborhood, family neighborhood. So it makes you feel comfortable in the neighborhood. Is that what I'm hearing? Yeah, okay, perfect. So what about the neighborhood makes you feel that way? Right?
Mhm.
Feelings, paint the picture, make them really get into the conversation. And as you're giving them information to get back to you, they're just gonna unload because they feel comfortable. And the biggest thing out of this whole conversation, I know the way you talk on the phone, and we've had this conversation where like, it's not the same as when you're
It's
doing,
not the same.
role play. But every single person that you're talking to on the phone is your best friend.
Mhm.
Every person that you talk to on the phone is your aunt, your uncle. You've known this person forever. And it doesn't matter if they get on the phone angry or not, you're gonna talk to them like you're the best friend in the world.
Right.
And if you go that route and you don't dig for like, oh, I need the appointment, I need the appointment, I need the sale, give me. If it's all about, let me help you. Let's be friends. Tell me your story. If you approach it that way, people won't want to get off the phone with you because they're having a really nice conversation. Make sense?
Mhm.
All right, who's up next?
Like it.
Okay.
All right, Jay.
Hey, good morning. This is Jay over at KW Lee. How are you today?
Jay, I am fantastic. What's up?
Hey, man, I was just giving you a quick call. We have an open house down the street from you at 123 Main Street, and I was calling to see if you might want to stop by and check the place out.
No, I'm pretty good.
Pretty good?
Okay. I've just been seeing that.
No? Okay.
I own a house.
You own a house? Awesome. Well, do you guys know anybody that might want to move into the neighborhood?
Off the top of my head, I don't.
You don't? Okay. Well, no problem. How about you guys? How long have you lived here?
We lived here for about 15 years.
15 years? Awesome. What do you like most about the neighborhood?
I've got good neighbors that take care of their house. Everything about the neighborhood is kind of nice, it's quiet, there's not a lot of people, so.
Quiet.
And for us, it just always makes sense.
Quiet and not a lot of people, and the houses spread out pretty wide, big lots. Yeah. A lot of vacancies there, or how
No,
not a lot of people?
It seems like everybody in my neighborhood goes to bed at like 8 o'clock and gets up at 5 o'clock, so.
Okay,
It's always quiet, you go out at 9 o'clock at night, and it's outside,
okay,
half the house is like dark, so for us, it's perfect.
sounds nice. So a lot of probably working class families, not a lot of younger kids partying and stuff, it sounds like.
No rentals, no young people partying outside, so it's.
No cars on blocks in the yard. That's nice. Well, let me ask you, what if you could change something about your neighborhood, what would it be?
For us, I think the big thing is it's just something to do further out in Omaha, we're right off of Harrison and, Harrison Street's always busy, so.
Okay,
I try to leave in the morning, you're always dealing with school traffic. Right. Moms in no hurry other than to get their kids to school and get back to relax at home, so.
okay.
It doesn't seem, there's no sense of urgency to get anywhere, so for us, it takes forever to get out of the neighborhood, so. We're just something like that.
So a little bit outside Omaha, you don't have to deal with traffic quite as much, and soccer moms blocking the roadways. Sounds nice.
Seems like anytime we need to get somewhere, that's kind of about that.
Right, well, man, that makes sense. Well, if you could move out of Omaha, where would that be? What would that look like?
Maybe just like Waterloo, Louisville, something just on the outskirts, but something that's not in Omaha, something that we can still get to Omaha in 15 minutes, but we can give us a little more area.
It's about 10 to 15 minutes from Omaha. You don't have like a specific area, like would you like to stay in Sarpy?
Schooling doesn't really matter, no kids, so no issue.
Okay,
We can pretty much move anywhere.
okay. So you're talking about like an acreage you'd like to give
Well,
up to?
maybe
or
not an acreage, because I don't want to take care of that much land, but.
a subdivision out in the
Yeah,
country?
totally.
Okay. What does that look like to you as far as house style or scenery?
Right now we're in that level, we really like to do that, maybe a ranch, something that we can walk on it, right? Something that's, all one level.
Right,
Something I can see the living room from the bedroom, just a lot of height.
right. How do you like that multi-level floor plan? Not very much, huh?
No, it served its purpose, but I move on.
Tired of walking up 3 stairs to get to your kitchen every 5 minutes. Exactly, man, I can appreciate that for sure. Well, let me ask you, what would specifically have to happen in order for you to make that?
We've never even thought about it, Jay. We've been pretty happy with the neighborhood, like I said, so. I don't even know, we haven't even put every thought into it, I mean, that's just that dream case scenario is to get someplace where we have. I guess a little quieter neighborhood,
Okay,
something just outside the city.
right, quieter neighborhood outside the city. That sounds awesome, man. Well, I really don't know where to go from there, but, I can't really close. in 20.
What could you dig?
What can you do? Like.
Well, you kind of went into that a little bit, kind of went into the floor plan a little bit.
The ranch.
Yeah.
Less traffic, quieter neighborhood.
So you asked specifically what would have to happen, right? So what's the next question you could ask?
When,
There it is.
Or in
So,
a perfect
yep.
world,
ideally, when would you like?
Yeah.
that to
So, okay, you haven't really discussed a whole lot about what you need and when you want to do that, but in a perfect world, the stars align, okay? Everything's perfect, you got everything lined up so that you could do it. When would you want to make that move, Mark?
Realistically, probably in the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay, so why then?
There's house needs a little bit of update. I think everything in the neighborhood, most of the people that have sold have done a lot of updates.
Okay,
So it's an older house, so it's dated.
Yeah.
So I think to maximize what we get out of the house, we really need to do some updates. I mean, we've replaced and repaired what needed to be replaced and repaired, but we haven't done anything as far as, like, we moved in, we painted, and we called it good.
okay,
But that was 15 years ago when we moved in.
that makes sense.
So even our painting is dated.
Right, so everything might be a little bit dated. So you said that you've done some things to, kind of update the house, what needed to be done. What things have you done?
Replace the HVAC, replace the water heater, just as things broke, we fixed them, but kind of nothing above and beyond that.
Just standard maintenance kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
And
Okay,
We've just been, sad to say, we've just been living in the house.
yeah. Hey, nothing wrong with that. The world gets in the way.
House serves its purpose.
Yep, you got a roof over your head and that's all you need right now.
Yeah, water doesn't come in.
Right. Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. No, that
Got
makes a whole
roof
lot of
on
sense.
It.
It sounds like you've got kind of the necessities
Yeah.
taken care of, right?
Totally.
But what are your wants? What do you want to see besides just the floor plan of the ranch? Like, what else would you like to see in this house?
Well,
I know a little quieter, I know a ranch, but tell me more about this house.
it seems like anytime we like to entertain and the backyard's great for entertaining, but it seems like anytime we have a party, everybody ends up in the kitchen. I don't know why that is, but like it ends up the focal point of the damn house, even if you have a TV on and the living room set up nice and plates set out and have it like geared so everybody goes to the living room, we're all in the kitchen.
Oh, absolutely.
So, maybe something like a kitchen that's entertaining.
I think that,
Along those lines.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I think that's a Midwest thing, because I think every single person that I know, it doesn't matter if you have the most amazing entertainment basement on the planet, everybody gathers in the kitchen, no matter what. I
Because
can
that's
totally
where the
understand.
food is.
Exactly.
And moms are standing and eating in the kitchen.
So,
With the wine bottles on there.
Yeah.
They get a drink.
We throw a party every New Year's and literally everybody stays in the kitchen, so now we don't decorate anything but the kitchen.
Yeah.
So-
that makes perfect sense.
So maybe something that I can chef it up a little and a nice big island or something. that
Okay.
We can set up a party spread on, so.
Yeah.
Since we're all gonna hang out in the damn kitchen, maybe make the kitchen more livable.
So what holidays are like the big ones that you guys usually have people over? Is it an anniversary thing, Christmas, Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving and New Year's.
Okay.
Definitely New Year's. We throw a theme party every year. So-
Okay, so hypothetically, just completely hypothetically, if we could get you into something that maybe was outside of Omaha a little bit, had that nice ranch with the big open kitchen with the island, and we found that situation for you, would that be something you'd be interested in taking a look at maybe now, or do you really want to wait the 5 to 10 years?
No, we just, I guess we always had a plan out of when we would move, but I guess there's nothing keeping us here because we have no kids.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about the school, so.
Yeah, I mean, something
yeah,
that,
I guess there's nothing wrong with now.
Yeah.
What about work?
Nope, hold on. What you're doing right now is you're giving them a reason to cancel.
He should be giving us a reason.
Correct, but he's not.
That's true.
So why would I step in and go, what about work? Like, is that gonna stop you?
Would you work from home?
Why
If he's
can't-
moving far outside of the city,
Right,
Only
but
10 minutes.
you're giving him reasons.
exactly,
Two.
for role play.
No,
Why,
but just go with what they say.
why didn't you close on him when you started talking about updates and not really knowing and?
You want me to finish?
Yeah,
I mean, I know, I see the road you're going down, but I'm just curious. I know you're getting more information and digging deeper.
Mhm.
But it also gives an opportunity for them to shut down.
Yeah.
When they laid up the first,
Let me
okay,
finish this real quick.
okay.
So it doesn't sound like there's anything really holding you back at this point. Am I correct, Mark? Other than maybe some updates on the house.
Yeah, realistically, I guess not.
Okay, well, why don't we do this? Why don't I swing by sometime this week? Let's look through what those updates could be. They may not be as crazy as what you think they are.
Okay.
You know, I do this all the time. I'll swing by sometime this week. Let's sit down and kind of go over what we need to do in the house.
Somebody's
And see
gonna
what
like
it-
old note, right?
Exactly. I mean, there are people out there that do. So why don't I swing by sometime this week? Let's go over what those updates could be and kind of talk a little bit deeper with you and your wife about what it is that you guys want in this spot outside of town. And then from there, you guys can do what makes the most sense. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense.
Perfect. So I've got some time. Are afternoons or evenings better for you?
I would probably want my wife to be there, so she feels like she's an active
Absolutely.
participant, so. for the evening.
Evenings? Okay. I've got some time tomorrow at 6 or Friday at 6:30. Which one would work better for you?
Let's do Friday at 6:30, because she gets off at 5 on Friday, so I give her time to get home and relax a little.
Perfect. Sounds like a plan. And don't worry about cleaning up the house or anything like that. I go through them all the time. I want to know what it looks like when you live there. So I'll just plan on being there at 6:30 on Friday.
I don't have to clean, that's good for me.
So when you're talking to the husband, I'm gonna stop for a second. When you're talking to the husband, I always throw in, don't worry about cleaning up the house for me. Because 75% of the time, if he says, hey, I have a realtor stopping by on Friday, the wife's gonna go, I haven't cleaned the house.
Right.
Oh, he said not to worry about it. Oh, he did? Yeah, he said he wants to see how we live. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm still gonna pick up a little bit, but then I don't have to worry about deep cleaning.
Crazy.
Right. So I always throw that in there if I'm talking to the husband. If the wife's, you know, actually, I kind of throw that in there whenever I'm talking to anybody, but
Right.
especially when I'm talking to the
That's a
husband,
good one.
because I know that's gonna come up in the conversation when I'm not around.
Relieve stress.
Yep, relieve a little bit of that stress.
Right,
So I see exactly what you were saying and why I didn't close,
right.
because he gave me a 5 to 10 year timeline. That's why I didn't close.
So you push.
Right? So I didn't have a let's stop by this week
Right.
with a 5 to 10 year timeline, because he could want to do the updates 3 months, 6 months, 3 years down the road,
Right.
right? But by digging a little deeper and finding out what his situation was and if there was any reason whatsoever that he had to stay in his house for now.
Right.
If he said, well, you know, my job,
Right.
like Aloha was saying, if he would have given me, my job is, you know, something where it's 5 minutes down the road, I'd really like to do, you know, stay here and, you know, I'm looking for this promotion. If I got that promotion, I wouldn't have to be at the office as much, you know, blah, 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 whatever it is.
cause they don't have kids, so
Right.
the next thing would probably be either family
Exactly.
or.
But the
job.
one thing you never want to do,
Is give them.
Just do
reason.
that.
you don't want to give them the
Well-
reason to not have you come over. And I know you're.
I would do that If I was you, I
Right.
would do that if I was him,
Right,
because that's just a major thing
Yeah.
usually for people. Is
but
their career.
as you're going through the phone, one of the biggest problems that I had when I was doing this before is I would do that.
You would give them.
I would
reasons to say
totally
no.
give them reasons to say no. I was so bad about it because I'd be going through and they'd be like, yes, 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 yes. And I'd be like, well, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna go through all the stuff before I meet with them, so I
Right.
don't waste my time, is the
Right,
way that I used to look at it.
Right.
But once you get to the point where you start looking at things on a relationship over transaction, which is what I didn't do, I'll fully admit that.
Right.
You know, when you start looking at things as relationships over transactions, you're not wasting your time when you go in there because you're gonna have that conversation. And whether it's 4 months, 6 months, 4 years down the road, I don't know about you, but I'm not planning on,
or a referral.
yeah, or referral.
Yeah.
You know, you never know when this is gonna happen. You could go in there and they could say 5 years, you could have a conversation, and by the time you walk out the door, they want the plumber and the electrician and the, you know, painting guy to stop by this week.
Mhm.
Right.
So you never know until you get face to face. So set yourself up in a situation where, you know, you're not the reason that they're not gonna meet.
Right.
Don't ever give somebody a reason not to meet with you. let them give you one. If they have to, but always try to get to that point where maybe there's an opportunity for you to do something for them.
Right,
Not sell their house,
right.
but an opportunity for you to do something to help them out. Exactly, offer value.
And
100%.
I've driven for work in the minimum of an hour most of my life.
Yep.
So 10 minutes is like, when I lived in LA, hour and a half each way.
Yeah.
When I managed jewelry stores, lived in Lincoln, worked in Omaha, worked in Lincoln, lived in Omaha. So I've never.
That
driven-
sucks.
Well, close
Like
enough.
living here, being spoiled.
San Diego, hour and a half.
Yeah.
Easy.
Close
And
enough.
I will say that's the point.
Oh,
That is important.
Yeah.
Be close to conveniences.
Right.
Like wives wanna be close to convenience,
Yep.
where they can go to the grocery store. They don't have to go an hour to the grocery store and then come back, like, so
But one of the
that is
things,
a perspective.
for sure, but one of the things I wanna make sure you guys don't do in these conversations. I used to be terrible at this, because I would be like, well, that one has gold, no, we don't wanna look at that.
My wife
And they-
fucking
and they'd
loves
be
it,
like,
so
Why?
I have no idea. Oh.
I love gold. No, I'm saying, I'm saying, like, they'll be like, no, I love gold. That's like my favorite thing. That's what my parents had. That makes me feel like I'm at home.
Right.
So you don't want to ever throw your own personal,
No.
you know, don't you want to be close to work? No, I could care less. I actually enjoy my drive to work every single day. The longer the better. Because I get up in the morning and I get my quiet time and that's my time to meditate or whatever. I have a podcast that I listen to every day. I'd love to have an extra 15 minutes to go listen to it.
Right,
Yeah.
You never know what somebody's little quirks are.
right.
So don't give them your own personal. Pull those out, let them give you what they want. I mean, believe me, I've gone into houses that I've been showing and people are like, oh my God, this is it. It's so perfect. And in the back of my head, I'm like,
Cringing.
I would never, ever, ever consider buying this house.
Yeah,
Holy shit, it's horrible.
Yeah.
I have a client who like, if it's out of 1970 and nothing's been touched,
Yeah.
oh, she'll buy it. Well, all right, I'm running over. Okay, since we're already here, you guys go ahead, go out and make some phone calls. Aloha and I have an appointment to get to. Hope you guys pulled some good stuff out of today. But if you need anything, we will be back at 11:45 and my phone is always on. Talk to you soon.